Okay, let's make sure everything's going all right. So what we are about to do is I'm going to get a call from Quickbooks. I think this is from their quality assurance team. I've submitted a lot of complaints to QuickBooks or Intuit financial services, and safe to say that it has not been conducive to a professional business relationship. And I'll get into that. Like, first thing is we enlisted several services through QuickBooks Online, QuickBooks Bookkeeping, QuickBooks Payroll, the whole suite. And the reason for this was to simplify our back end and to be more transparent. We wanted to make sure that we were going through a respectable platform that was the industry standard, and it for that purpose it was good. We were able to take advantage of the bookkeeping services and really just kind of update our financials, which was really important to me. I wanted to make sure that this organization was doing the steps necessary to be fully transparent with the funds that we're receiving, especially with our grants and how we use those funds, and giving donors and volunteers an opportunity to address, questions and things like that, just as any investor would be able to with a publicly traded company. And so that's something that I'm very focused on, is just creating that type of dynamic and interpersonal relationships with our community. And we do that through Discord and Patreon and various other engagement tools that we'll be using. But essentially what went wrong here is, first off, policy. QuickBooks is kind of deceiving with certain things, and I'm going to get into the thing that we felt was deceiving and what first gave us a bad experience. So with payroll, when you first start up payroll, they tell you various things that they'll take care of all the fees and all the filing, but in our case, it was a mess. Every time I had to call multiple times to just figure out what was wrong with the filings. I had to send late fees over to them, which I'm sure I still have late fees that I'm probably going to just have to pay myself because they just were so incompetent with that. And that's not even really the big issue, because of course if they're going to pay the late fees, like, fine. Like, I opted to just cancel and deal with the remainder myself, because not only did they fail to do the basic things that they openly tell you that they're going to do, but they failed to properly notify their policy to you. And one thing that caught us off guard was when they say you could have contractors for your payroll. They say inactive, or some, if you don't pay a contractor that month, you're not deducted the fee for that contractor and for that employee. You know what I mean? So you can have part-time employees and stuff like that, and it's not supposed to increase the cost. So we had mainly 10 plus contractors. Not all of them were getting active invoices, because when we're working on projects, we want to make sure that we are able to bring in more people. And yeah, so I was looking over and I noticed that every time we added vendors, our monthly was increasing. And so after a while of poking and poking, they finally told me, you have to manually put them on inactive. And there was an onboarding process. No one, I asked this exact thing. And that's what frustrates me, is when I ask for clarifications and I'm reassured, and then years later, I'm seeing that was all based on a lie. I'm already, we're already done for the most part. I'm going to start looking for that service elsewhere. So we were already on the process of removing the payroll service. The next thing is the next thing is we had an invoice go wrong. So one of our partners, their bank was hacked, and that hacker disputed some invoices. That means, it's a chargeback, and we had chargeback protection, but in this circumstance, it was a bounce check. And so, or they considered it like a bouncing check because they like canceled the check, I guess. So it's not necessarily a chargeback. And so QuickBooks really retaliated at us because I called immediately day of. I noticed the dispute. I said, hey, this is what's going on. What do we have to do? And they told me, you're going to have to pay it back. And I, said charge back, blah, 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 blah. Found out, check, cancel, whatever. No biggie. I still have to pay my staff, and that's money that goes to my staff and services. It doesn't matter whether or not it's a bounce check or whatever. We have to still pay them. And so my client and us, we worked together. I found out that, I had to find all this out. And so I told QuickBooks, like, hey, let us, pay you back. And so they agreed. They said, okay, we'll do this payment plan. I'm like, okay, as long as you guys don't like take the huge chunk of like the invoice, you know what I mean? So I can pay overhead, and then my client will pay me back, and we'll figure it out, and we'll just simple. This should just be a business transaction, inconvenient for everybody, but we're willing to pay it back. They're willing to do it in the payment plan. Like, that's great. So right after that, they end up taking a huge chunk of the invoice after they said they weren't going to. I called, and then they said, oh, you never set up a payment plan, this and that. And I was like, I called literally the beginning. I filed a complaint. I requested them to return the money. They never really honored that. I never got that huge sum returned. But it was whatever. Like, we were going to just take it on the, take it to the chin, move through this, and so we established another payment plan for the remainder after they took the huge chunk. And then after that, they started saying we owed the original amount. And then they started to hold our other invoices. So now they delayed us to get paid from our client. And then they're saying if I don't pay them the agreed upon amount by this certain date, they won't release the funds to us. And so I had to argue with them, like, how am I supposed to pay your funds if you're holding my money hostage? And so this is like a week of them holding the money hostage. Eventually, I just had my breaking point and just kept going through every channel. I went through my bookkeeper. I went through everyone I could. And the only person that was like I was able to really build a professional relationship with is our bookkeeper. She was amazing. I would 100% go back to her services. But just the Intuit corporation and everything and the umbrella, it was too, once you broke the trust, I did not feel comfortable having our checking there, our book, our accounting there, our invoicing there, our payroll there. Like, it's so much, it's so invasive, and so it's so important for them to establish transparency, establish trust, and that was a violation of it. And so supposedly QA is going to call me because I filed several complaints throughout this entire process. I shouldn't have had to do a lot of the things I had to do. They're the business, I'm the client. I did their work for them. I told them these things are happening to my bank account just because I do my due diligence. They're there to help us in our time of need, and they abandoned us. And not only did they abandon us, that they turned entirely predatory and jeopardized everything that I've worked for by holding our funds and not allowing us to use our money to pay them even back. Like, it is insane that I had to argue that we can't pay you if you are holding all our funds. That doesn't make any sense. I had to pay people out of pocket. I had to pull out of my life savings. just to keep things going, because I wasn't going to let Intuit jeopardize the last 10 years of my life because they failed to be the business partner that they say they are. And so that was a huge, we're stepping away from this completely. And luckily, we found a new partner, a more strategic and developing partner. And I'll gladly get into all that. I think right now, at this exact moment, I didn't get their calls.
This call will be recorded and monitored. One moment while we connect you with a representative. This call will be recorded and monitored.
Hello, this is Marcel with Quickbooks. How can I help you today?
Hey Marcel, this is Hassan. We had our scheduled call at 10. See, my phone just auto-rejected your calls there.
I got you. That is weird. No problem. I'm glad you called back. Didn't know, I can't remember exactly how much we got a chance to talk about, but again, I am the new business development rep for Nature of Sound, and I was just reaching out to let you know about the account management program that's been added to your QuickBooks account. One thing, have you worked with an account manager before, or would this be your first time?
This will be the first time, and it is I would say a strange time. I was assuming this was actually going to be QA, quality assurance, because I've submitted several complaints. And, I mean, I have a whole barrage of grievances to share. It's probably near the end of our relationship as a business with Intuit services. I don't really foresee any possible way for you guys to repair the damage that's been done. It's really it's at a stage of irreparable damage, and I'm happy to go into detail and depth and share case numbers and complaint numbers with you. And if that's something that you were wanting to do, I don't know if that's in your scope. I originally was going to write a lengthy email and send it to the CEO. I was able to find an email that supposedly goes up to him, because as an as a CEO myself, I would very much want to know the information and the experience that I had is very antithesis of what you guys stand for as a business. It is the exact opposite of what you guys present yourselves as. And so it's very heartbreaking for me, because we had to endure it. We were on the blunt end of the stick here. And so, yeah, it was a very frustrating and tumultuous time for us.
I'm so sorry to hear all of that. Yeah, I do apologize. And yeah, with me and being a business development rep, what it is I work with the account managers that have been assigned to the customers, just to let them know what the program is, and then get them scheduled for a call with the account manager, just kind of for an introduction and way to see if there is something that the account manager can do to help out. But based off of what you're saying, it might be too late for that, and that's why I was calling, was to get you connected. But I don't know if there's not really a chance for us to help you out from this point. That's really what the account manager would be for as well, is just to kind of see what's going on and see what insights, recommendations they can give you based off of what you're needing. I mean, would you still want me to try to schedule that call for you, though? And maybe try one more time to see what we can do to help you?
I mean, besides just a learning opportunity for you guys, quality assurance, I just don't see it fruitful, just because of the sheer level of violation of trust. I mean, like I said, I could go into it with you, but if that's not your scope, it's just a headache for everybody. I mean, we could set up that meeting. That's what I thought this was going to be, or I thought this was going to be from that complaint. There are the several complaints I had filed. But that's also a concern because that should be the first people who reach out to us because we canceled our subscriptions and we had Payroll Elite, we had bookkeeping, excuse me, you know what I mean? Like we had every service you guys provided and,
Right.
We canceled them all. The only thing we were using now is a discounted online for now.
Mm-hmm.
And it's
Okay.
very stressed for now because I don't even feel comfortable using that.
Oh man, I got you, and I
And
definitely hear
we're
where
a
you're coming from.
nonprofit. Just to throw that out there, we're a nonprofit organization, so we're very selective with who we work with, and
Mm-hmm.
that was one of the reasons we went with you guys is we were built. This was a opportunity for building trust and transparency and financial accountability. You know what I mean?
Right, right. Well, let me do this. I have your email. Let me shoot you over Edward's email address. That way you can have it. And like I said, if you feel like it would be beneficial to reach out to him, you can just, schedule that call or, I don't know, see if there's anything else maybe, but I can send that over to you. That way you have it. Would that be okay?
Yeah, that's fine. I mean,
Okay.
I'm willing to
All
go
right.
up the tree, just because I feel like I said, it is embarrassing.
Right.
It should be dealt with. There should be a sorry, and an actual like, hey, we looked at everything that you've endured as a client, and this is not acceptable. And I will accept that as an apology. You know what I mean? But
Right.
I've had reps ridicule us for certain things because of the circumstances. Like we had a client had their finances were hacked, their bank accounts were hacked, and then so they disputed a bunch of invoices. And so usually, that shouldn't be our problem, essentially, right? Like if we have chargeback
Right.
protection and things like that. But in this particular instance, it was referred to as a canceled check, not a chargeback. And so, yeah, it was a whole headache. And I'm not going to get too much into that. That's just the surface level issue.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. And what I'll do is I'm going to reach out to the account manager as well once we hang up and just give him some verbal context to what we spoke about too, because I'm going to let him know that I'm going to send you, his email address so he's aware too, just in case you all are able to connect and give him some context. Let me reach out to him and I'll shoot you over his email address as well. Okay.
Yeah, I appreciate that, Marcel. Thank you for being professional and doing your due diligence and just setting this up. I appreciate that.
It's my pleasure. Thank you for your patience with me on this, Will, and I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day.
Yeah, you
Careful out
too,
there.
man. You take care.
All right. Thank you. Take
Bye.
care. Bye-bye.
Well, yeah, that's really disappointing. Because it really should be QA that's calling me. But we recorded it. You guys all know what's going on now. So, yeah, there'll be an announcement about our new partner for accounting and open source stuff. We're still kind of doing onboarding with their platform. We'll do some kind of like comparisons. That's really why I actually even still am subscribed to QuickBooks. We are getting a discounted rate. So traditionally you'd be paying $90 a month. We're paying $40. And this is only going to be for comparison to just show the differences between the platform and the old platform with Intuit and the new platform, which is GiveFront Financial Services. So if you guys want to, you can check out GiveFront.com. We are going to have more of an official announcement on their website and our website about what we're going to be doing, and then another post here after this. So yeah, cheers. Wish this was more fruitful of a call, but I'll be doing these types of things more often. So yeah.